All right, whiskey freaks, more breaking news. And it's killing me to do these segments. It seems like every week now, bad news. I'm starting to feel like I'm the Grim Reaper of bourbon over here. So our good friends over at distilling giant MGP, they just came out and said they're pausing production at 2 of their Kentucky distilleries. 2 of them. And we all know these distilleries, guys. Limestone Branch and Lux Row. Starting on May 1st, right around the corner here, it's going to be lights off for those distilleries. Okay, not forever, hopefully, but they say it's going to be at least a year, maybe more, depending on how bad this whiskey glut really turns out to be. And look, if your first thought is, kind of feels familiar, yeah, you're not crazy, guys. Because think back just a few short weeks. Jim Beam did the same damn thing at their Claremont distillery. One of the biggest, one of the most iconic distilleries in the world. And they just said, we're good for a year. So now you got Beam pulling back. And you got MGP. They're doing basically the same thing here. And that ain't coincidence, y'all. That's a trend. And the reason's very simple. They made too much whiskey, like way too much. And MGP basically said it without using the words. The corporate, the big wigs over there, they're using the term structurally oversupplied. And that's corporate BS talk for we got too many warehouses full of too damn much whiskey and it ain't going nowhere. Hell, the barrels are stacked up, guys. The inventory's high. Demand's just not keeping pace like it did during the bourbon craze. And now, everybody's tapping the brakes, basically all at the same time. Now, here's where it gets interesting. They're not shutting everything down. Lawrenceburg, Indiana, that's the mothership. That's their monster facility for MGP. It's still going to be cranking out whiskey. That's their engine. And that's where half the industry gets their mystery bourbon from, whether the folks want to admit it or not. But down in Kentucky, they're downshifting their operations big time. And yeah, this sucks. About 30 employees or so are getting hit by this. Those are real people. They're dealing with real change. And this isn't just spreadsheets and barrels stacked in a warehouse. It's people. I always try to point that out. Now, some folks might say, who cares? This is business. It's got to be done. And well, maybe it does got to be done, but I don't really see it that way. These are people's lives, families, their day-to-day. This stuff matters. But let's zoom out just for a second, because this isn't just about producing whiskey. Let's look at MGP's stock price. Let's look at MGP's stock price over the last year and a half or so. And I am not a financial advisor. In full disclosure, I do own MGP stock. I've said it on the podcast before. Do not take stock advice from me, clearly. But seriously, guys, let's look at MGP stock real quick. It's been getting its ass kicked. It's been dropping and dropping and dropping. It's not a straight drop, but it's enough where I'm like, dude, please stop the bleeding. In real terms, MGP stock price was over $120 just a few years ago. And now, I just checked it. It's 18. Let that sink in for a minute. It's sinking in for me, guys. Their stock has cratered. And that's not a dip. That's a full-on collapse. It's the market. It's the market talking, and it's basically saying, we don't need all this whiskey right now. So now, here's your messed up scenario. You got too much whiskey. You got slow in production, and you got your stock price plummeting. And that's not nothing. And here's where I'm going to zig when maybe some folks might zag. This pausing production at Limestone Branch and Lux Row, which, by the way, I love Lux Row. I've mentioned that many times. In Limestone Branch, I've got a fun Glencairn from them. I use that for my tastings a lot. I think this pausing production thing right now might actually be good for these guys, for MGP as a whole, and for their distilleries that are in their portfolio. And And really, why else would MGP doing this if they didn't think it was good, right? The industry is bloated. Remember, everybody ramped up when bourbon was hot. Everybody thought the party was never going to end. I don't know who all these everybody's were, these industry gurus, these experts. You know how I feel about that? How did they think this was going to be the right thing to do? I don't know, but it's the direction that they went in. And now it's a big time hangover. So what do? You stop making whiskey. You let what you've got age and you tighten things up a bit. And I figure if MGP plays this right, they come out of this sitting on a pile of, which they've already got a pile of older whiskey, but they're going to come out of this sitting on a pile of older whiskey while everybody else is scrambling later when that older whiskey supply tightens back up. Because it will. Look, this whole thing, it runs in cycles. It always has. So this move, it might look like a retreat by MGP. It might look like they're kind of throwing in the towel, at least to a degree. But it could just mean the repositioning. Now let me throw something else at you. What if MGP becomes a target? Seriously, it's not out of the question, right? Think about what they are. They're not just a brand, they're a supplier. They're the backbone for, it could be hundreds of labels, right? Hundreds of whiskeys out there use MGP distillate. And we've already seen how fast things can shift. Brown-Forman, Pernod Ricard, is that ringing a bell to anybody? And what about Gallo? What about Four Roses? These are all cases in point. Big players making massive moves, consolidating, trying to control more of the pipeline. So you start asking, does somebody come in and scoop them up? Or maybe, did they get folded into a bigger operation? You don't think companies are looking around right now going, who's vulnerable? Any easy pickings out there? Maybe MGP? And it's for good reason. MGP's sitting there with inventory. They've got incredible production capacity and a stock price that's been sliding into the toilet for nearly 2 years now. This is a recipe for an acquisition, right? It's the kind of situation that at the very least is getting attention. And it's ripe for a merger or, like I said, maybe an acquisition. Guys, I'm not saying it's happening tomorrow, but I am saying don't be shocked if something really weird happens here. So yeah, on the surface, this is, hey, 2 distilleries are pausing production. But underneath all that, this is the bourbon boom just cooling off. This is the industry in a correction. And this is where things start to get real interesting because the next couple of years are going to decide who comes out of this stronger and who just got caught sleeping. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, YouTube, and all the places that fine podcasts are found. Share this with your friends and maybe even follow me on socials. Look, when hot whiskey news drops, or I feel like going off on a rant about some clown named Vlad, whatever the case may be, that's when things are going to get interesting and you're not going to want to miss a thing. And look, I promise, I pinky promise, I swear on Warehouse H, I'm going to bring y'all some good whiskey news real soon. I just got to find some first. Well, that'll do it for today's quick shot of news from our good friends at MGP, y'all. As always, thanks for listening to the Blind Tasting Podcast. Cheers.